Welcome. Good morning. It's 11:42 p.m. in the morning in Hakala, Montreal. Yours truly, Adrian H. Dragan on this special isolation, as yours truly is in an isolation. Currently, ninth day out of 10-day period. Tomorrow, I'm gonna take another test. Feeling much better. The beginning was rough, but was milder than the first time that yours truly had COVID right at the beginning. Before mass testing was available at the beginning of 2020, about late January till about mid-February or so. Was very sick and ill, and of course I am triple vaccinated and encourage y'all, please increase in hygiene in public when you go in and out of a public space, bank, teller, grocery store. Rub, disinfect, wash the hands, wash the hands, disinfect the hands with soap, rub when you go in a bank, when you go in a grocery store, when you go in a school, because oh, that's great, B. Oh, wow. Good job. Good job. So yours truly, triple vaccinated and independent artist, independent activist, independent athlete, triple A plus, fourth dimension to that triple A trinity, athlete, artist, activist, universal spiritual teaching student. Admit, guilty, I'm broke, but my work is gold, I'm broke. But my work is gold, I'm broke, but my work is gold. Such as this work that was written in the past years of struggle and suffering, coming out of depression, being suicidal. I've wrote tens of thousands of pages of philosophy, art, poetry, coupled with reading tens of thousands of books in the libraries of Hawk Island, Montreal. And yes, I'm not perfect, far from it. Got issues, got lusts, get moody, get upset. As a matter of fact, watched a little bit of pornography, not too much over the weekend. Guilty, CSIS, NSA, National Security Agency, FSB, Mossad, don't hack my roaming, because I admit it. I'm grateful, thankful that for the month of July my rent is paid in full. My electricity bill is also paid in full for the month of July, and half of my phone bill is also paid in full. I can stay in isolation, have food, have coffee, have noodles, sardines, and pasta. Make something to eat today, as I'm gonna embark on cleaning some more in my room, office, and temple. Cleaning that never ends in my office, room, and temple. Cleaning that never ending cleaning that occurs in my room, office, and temple. I'm grateful, thankful that I got this coffee. Matter of fact, say bless it. Good job. That was my anonymous sister. So yours truly here in the underground room, office, and temple. Gonna go on rock and roll philosophy this morning, as I'm in the ninth day of isolation. I've decided that I'm gonna do 10 days. Before it used to be 2 weeks, and now it says between 5 and 10, depending on the symptoms. So I'm still coughing a bit, clearing my throat. I'm triple vaccinated and doing this philosophy. One of my philosophies, theories of philosophy, as much as I am mediocre, do admit that some things I am mediocre. Do admit that some things I am average. Do admit that some things I am so average. At some mediocre. At some things even useless. Some things I am great. Geopolitical analysis and theory and philosophical discussions and conversations and poetry. I'm good at rapping also, although keep that for Instagram, my underground rapping. You don't want me to start rapping a deliciously disgusting diatribe. Tough times we've been through, and I've been to my share of suffering and being depressed, suicidal. I gotta say that. Encourage everybody to work out, train, exercise. Has been, is, and will be medicine and therapy for yours truly. 77 pounds down. Do a little bit of flex. 77 pounds down. I have been, am, and will call for the mass financing thereof of my brothers and sisters to work out, to train, to exercise. It has been, is, and will be medicine and therapy for yours truly. You can see my hundreds and hundreds of workout videos, of which I am proud, of course, to have created. The General War Integrated Total Body Training System, which of course paradoxically was created, made, and designed to go hand in hand with the World War III scenario, which in an eerie, paradoxical, and providential way resembles the COVID-19 health and financial crisis and predates it. After, of course, yours truly as a geopolitical analyst and theorist, coupled in parallel with the paradox of me being in the past, present, and future a world peace advocate. I do understand that sometimes peace is hard within our own selves, within our own struggles, and admitting certain things we're dealing with. And taking action is, of course, necessary counterbalance and counterbalance for the negative feelings that we might have and that we might experience or express, or resentments or anger or aggression. Admit, do have aggression within myself. I channel it, channel it. Those are key words of my philosophy, of my spiritual philosophy, psychological philosophy, general philosophy, and even spiritual philosophy. Twins. Sublimate and channel, sublimate and channel, sublimate and channel. For example, if I feel moody, said I'm gonna take a shower, I'm gonna start cooking, start cleaning, working out, training, exercising, writing poetry, writing some art, writing some script, creative writing, writing children's books, whatever the fact is. Whether I'm upset about being the economic, financial, commercial situation, which I admit I am in a crisis. I owe $10,000 to the RBC, Royal Bank of Canada, and government of Quebec is asking me for $2,200 back. I was gonna make a deal on live on his Facebook. It's, can I say, a weekend and in Quebec City and just hug, tickle, and kiss Quebecers for a $2,200 business deal. I'm not without fault, not without issues, not without vices. Don't play the self-righteous card, self-righteous calls, self-righteous card. You got different temperaments, and exploring one's nature and temperament and reaching a balance between the public and the private is what the dancing goddess and the dragon kingdom, my work, calling all willingly living to support the dancing goddess and the dragon kingdom, is to implement my trinity of theories, because with all the imperfections and the flaws and vices that do have, I am for the greater good, and I do believe firmly, 100% without any doubt whatsoever, that at this point in time, for where we are, spiritual, psychological, technological, high technological arena, and since 1984, say 1984 due to Ronald Reagan's election in 1984 for USA, Canada, North America, and of course the Western world, NATO member countries and beyond. That of course where we are in this world. My trinity of theories known as citizen integration theory, debt refusion theory, and democratic fusion theory. That trinity of theories are best in their implemented local, national, international, to create the two complementary and covenant and cooperative institutions of the International Citizen Integrated Social Security and Service Force, aka the Dragan Army, with the International Integrated Dance League, aka the Dancing Goddess Army, to be for pleasure and purposes. I am calling for us to move, myself need to make the move to move towards a post-COVID world. And personally, straight up and direct, as much as philosophical as intellectual and verbose as can express the complexities of my psychological, philosophical, psychosexual theories and analysis. I'm gonna be straightforward and direct that I don't want to go back to anything pre-COVID. Just want to break the impasse and move forward as I'm getting healthier, fitter, healing from a lot of chronic illness, from depression, from suicidal in the past years, and of course still in a financial crisis, but working out, training, exercising, and I'm proud of I've created my own workout training program, the General War Integrated Total Body Training System, which is a total body, head to toe, total body training workout system which trains the whole body from head to toe, and which is perfect not only for COVID times but generally. That increases general overall fitness, and I've done hundreds of it, and you can see hundreds of workout videos, and I am looking for volunteers to develop the Dragan Army application. If I can drill and do the workout, do the workout, do the workout on the daily. So I'm moving towards a post-COVID world, breaking these impasses, which are local, national, international. I am calling for a global ceasefire and the implementation of my Trinity of theories. This morning, AM Hawk Island in Montreal, I'm gonna say gratitude, thankful, grateful that my rent's paid, my electricity bill is paid in full, my rent is paid in full. Half of my phone bill is also paid in full. So to that trinity of bills, fourth dimension, got food and coffee. If I have to prolong my isolation, I'm gonna do some cleaning afterwards. I'm doing laundry now, I'm doing laundry now, I'm doing laundry. So we're maybe gonna have to go do a little bit of steps to put it in the dryer. So I'm gonna have to be excused if my sister calls telling me that the laundry has finished the machine. I'm grateful, thankful for the machine, with my sister having sponsored the machine. So you see my posts, some posts I go to the laundromat and do the laundromat and XYZ. Moving towards a post-COVID world, it's not always easy for a lot of people. Of course, we've noticed that a lot of the institutions, organizations, they try to implement and go exactly about as if COVID didn't happen. COVID that wasn't didn't as business as usual. I'm open for business. I'm open for business. I'm open for business, but it's not. It's how I was. It's how I'm becoming fitter. It's a fitness journey, valuing working out, training, and exercising, valuing hygiene, valuing the balance between the public and the private, accepting my nature, my lusts, my irrational feelings and emotions, which do have in my philosophy is equated as 2 plus 2 equals 4. Yes, but doesn't mean that we have to write it in only one color. Only red, my favorite color, the de facto color of the Dragon army, or green, the color of the dancing goddess army, or my fellow LGBTQ community. We can write it in black and in white and in all the colors of the rainbow. We can write it in black and in white and in all the colors of the rainbow. Two, we can write it in red, the plus one line black, the other white. The other two, we can write it in green. The equal sign, we can write it in black and in white. The four, we can write it one line in purple, one line in orange, and the other line in pink. So we can blend and fuse and integrate all the colors of the rainbow plus the black and the white in that equation. And that expresses the idea that science and technology and the emotions, the feelings that we have can go hand in hand and gotta go hand and work together, just like breaking the impasse between nature and civilization and the public and the private. Right? Because I'm here in my underground room off some temple, I can turn everything off, close the computer, close my live stream, turn it off, close the blinds and get naked and start dancing naked on Madonna, Tekashi 69 or Kanye West. Want a commission, sponsor, finance that, starting at $1 million for the Dancing Goddess and the Dragon Kingdom. Yours truly, Adrian Hanna Dragon, dancing naked on whatever music you like for an hour, $1 million. That's the deal. Now 1 penny, 1 cent less. Now 1 penny, 1 cent less, 1 million for an hour dancing naked, Adrian Hanna Dragon, to raise funds for the Dancing Goddess and the Dragon Kingdom. That'll be the hellest androgynous naked dance ever. Anyways, as an independent artist, independent activist, independent athlete, triple A plus, being a universal spiritual teaching student, because say spiritual teacher student, because I'm also learning every day. I'm not without perfect. Sometimes I wake up moody and upset and feel like staying in bed. I could use a little bit more LOV. Could use better, some a good bottle of wine, some good food. It's a part of us, a part of our dimensions, which we have. I'm exploring my own explorations with social media, what we see, how we interact. I'm a millennial, so I'm speaking mostly from a millennial perspective. Mostly from a millennial perspective. But nonetheless, in my spiritual teaching student, teacher student, because I'm learning every day, my belief in reincarnation and incarnation, been reincarnated many times across the world, from ancient Egypt by the Nile, ancient India, Ganges, ancient Babylon, by the Euphrates, Danube, ancient Rome, the Roman Empire. Here, before Columbus set foot, I was born a few times in North America, Central America, and South America. Many past lives, many incarnations. Here, July 18th, tested positive for COVID. It's already noon, so it's morning coffee turned into a noon coffee. So before I proceed, I don't want to say it. Thank you, grateful. I want to say, as I'm calling all to the Global Dragon Union, I'm calling all to the Global Dragon Unions, I'm calling all to the Global Dragon Union. Thank you, love you, kiss you, hug you, farmers. Thank you, love you, kiss you, hug you, farmers. Thank you, love you, kiss you, truckers who deliver the goods. Thank you, love you, kiss you, grocery store clerks. Thank you, love you, kiss you, construction workers. Thank you, love you, kiss you, nurses. Thank you, love you, kiss you, hug you, farmers. Thank you, love you, kiss you, daycare workers. Thank you, love you, kiss you, butchers. Thank you, love you, kiss you, bakers. Thank you, love you, kiss you, bakers and butchers. Thank you, love you, kiss you, those in warehouses now. Unloading, loading, making pallets of goods to be in the supply chains. Canned goods, food, bread. Thank you, love you, kiss you, bakers and butchers. Thank you, love you, kiss you, farmers. Thank you, love you, kiss you, those bus drivers. Thank you, love you, kiss you, those loading the trucks. Thank you, love you, kiss you, those unloading the trucks. Thank you, love you, kiss you, those the Hydro-Quebec workers. Yours truly, Adrian Dragan, philosopher, artist, activist, athlete, geopolitical analyst and theorist, psychosexual analyst and theorist, is able to make this video and record, posted on YouTube, this discussion, lecture, analysis with clean, renewable, zero emission energy. 63 dams across this La Belle Province, Quebec, here in North America, and also gives, I think, to about 5 states, if not more, 6 maybe now. New Hampshire, Massachusetts, Vermont, New York, and other states. Which other state maybe? Is it New Jersey? One of the states. New Hampshire, Vermont, New York, New Jersey, maybe Massachusetts. One of the states receives clean, renewable, zero emission pollution energy from Hydro-Quebec. So thank you, love you, kiss you, farmers. Thank you, love you, kiss you, truckers. Thank you, love you, kiss you, daycare workers. Thank you, love you, kiss you, those making a coffee somewhere, making a bagel, making a salad, making a sandwich, making a hamburger, preparing the food somewhere, whether in a restaurant or in a fast food industry or in a small owned, family owned or couple owned or whatever, medium size, big size, small size restaurant or food servicing outlet, work in all food industry, dairy farmers. Thank you, love you, kiss you, hug you, dairy farmers. Thank you, love you, kiss you, hug you, cattle raisers. Thank you, love you, kiss you, construction workers. Thank you, love you, kiss you, those workers in sanitation of the city who are gonna pick up garbages today. Thank you, love you, kiss you, hug you, workers in sanitation of the city who are gonna pick up garbage today. Thank you, love you, kiss you, hug you, sanitation workers who are gonna pick up garbage. Yours truly, a Dragon, philosopher, as much as intellectual verbosity, complex theories of analysis of geopolitical situations and culturals and cultures within North America and beyond can provide with expressive, verbose, vernacular, going from A to Z in the most unheard of, remote, obscure terminology of the vocabulary in the dictionary. The fact remains, my brothers and sisters, that food is sacred, holy, and divine. That, hey, as much as I don't know it all, I do know this. Everybody gotta eat. Everybody gotta eat. So thank you, love you, kiss you, hug you, wash farmers. Thank you, love you, kiss you, hug you, those butchers. Thank you, love you, kiss you, those bakers, those making food. Leaders of the free world, when's the last time you cooked for yourselves? Is my own question. It's the NATO Secretary General. NATO. Brother Stolberg. Nothing against your brother, but you really have to read every day. I see on the news, you really gotta read that from a piece of paper, that paragraph. If you have a little bit of memorization of passion in the heart, just ask once, try to memorize that paragraph, since I'm assuming that you're well taken care of. You don't gotta cook for yourself. You know, worry about doing your laundry, doing your cooking, or maybe loosen up a little bit of the tie. I'm gonna be back in a minute. I'm gonna go put the laundry in the dryer, and we'll be back in a few seconds. I'll go into the theory, my geopolitical theory, coupled with other theories. This one specific about the North American civilizational collective, the collective of North American civilization. And once again, thank you, love you, kiss you, hug you, farmers. Thank you, love you, kiss you, hug you, truckers. Thank you, love you, kiss you, hug you, bakers. Thank you, love you, kiss you, hug you, butchers. Thank you, love you, kiss you, hug you, doctors. Thank you, love you, kiss you, nurses. Thank you, love you, kiss you, those wearing steel toe boots in warehouses. Thank you, love you, kiss you, those loading the trucks. Thank you, love you, kiss you, those unloading the trucks. Thank you, love you, kiss you, hug you, daycare workers. Thank you, love you, kiss you, nurses. Thank you, love you, kiss you, teachers. Thank you, love you, kiss you, hug you, those making sandwiches, making bagels with cheese, making a cup of coffee, making a salad, making fries, across this collective of North American civilization and beyond, across the collective of North American civilization. Thank you, love you, kiss you, hug you, all general workers. Thank you, love you, kiss you, hug you, all general workers. Thank you, love you, kiss you, hug you, all general workers, including myself as independent workers and independent artists, independent activists, independent athletes, universal spiritual teaching student. Hearing that the Pope is coming here, I'm saying to my citizens, if the Pope is here to give us some hugs, fine. Otherwise, we give you hugs, kiss you, tickle. I need a Pope. Doesn't say goddess. The goddess, the goddess. We'll be back in a minute. Maybe a minute and a half. And we are back. Laundry is put in the dryer. Something done for today, plus the cleaning coming, plus this work. Now that we're gonna go in 3, 2, and 1. The North American Civilizational Collective, or the Civilization of North America, the collective North American civilization, however we term it. I term it because I am the philosopher, geopolitical analyst, and theorist who, of course, has developed this theory and is the creator of this theory and is the originator and wrote it several years, started developing in writing several years ago somewhere on the USB keys, gotta be found somewhere in this underground room off some temple, in this somewhere in writings and on paper, old school by hand, and some of it typed, USB keys somewhere read. I remember I had a few USB keys with my poetry, philosophy, theories, but nonetheless, most of it are in the head and oratory in an oral manner. The collective of North American civilization. The collective North American civilization, what is it? Well, it is of course my proposition and my belief that North America constitutes a collective civilization, and the word collective has to be inserted and included in it. It's not North American civilization, but it is collective North American civilization. It is collective North American civilization. A collective, not to be confused with the word collectivism. It has nothing to do with the word collectivism as in the political ideology of collectivism. I am a universal revolutionary centrist. I believe in private public partnerships and breaking the impasses which since 1984 with the development of the global corporate financialized technocratic system due mainly to pinpoint 1984's Ronald Reagan's election, November. Ronald Reagan and his economics, which have spawned, created, originated across North America, USA, Canada, and NATO member countries and free world have originated this, of course, system which is a corporate, technocratic, financial, corporate, technocratic system. And I believe my theories we complement and balance and move forward to the future as much as we can. And again, I'm not perfect. I'm complementary with other propositions and just creative ideas, of course, can be complemented. So the collective of North American civilization is a theory and a proposition, and a belief, my belief, that North America constitutes an emergent collective civilization. And again, the term collective has to be included when discussing civilization. The term collective has to be included when discussing civilization. The term cannot be dissociated. So it's not North American civilization. It's the collective North American civilization, or AKA the North American collective civilization. It has to be included in it, as theory constitutes collective North American civilization, or also known as the North American collective civilization. And again, to stress the importance that collective in this case is not meaning to do with collectivism. So collective meaning a plurality joined as one with common denominators, a fusion of different disparate elements that have common goals or aspiration or common denominators. So the collective North American civilization's origins commences, debuts circa the Second World War. And the keynote to remember, to propagate, as you say, Adrian H. Dragonborn died during COVID, being reborn. And again, on COVID, I will say again and reiterate my stance, my proposition on COVID. First and foremost, I tested positive. I'm in isolation until tomorrow, and tomorrow I'll take a test and see. Today's my 9th day. Tomorrow will be officially my last day of isolation. We'll see how it goes. Keep busy, working out, cleaning. Not that much more working out. I like to work out outside, but maybe a little bit of workout, XYZ. Working more intellectually, reading, writing, reading, cleaning, writing, reading, cleaning, writing, cleaning. So the collective North American civilization, and again, before I proceed, I will state my trinity of beliefs surrounding the COVID-19 health and financial crises. I have a trinity of beliefs. A trinity of beliefs is first and foremost, do not know for sure what is the cause, what has caused COVID. Second, I do believe that COVID was transmitted from snakes to human beings. That's my belief. Second. Third, since cannot rule out, and my belief is now 100 confirmed, that snakes transmitted COVID to human beings, I cannot rule out another possibility, X, Y, Z, whatever the possibility is, X or Y or Z, they cannot be ruled out. I cannot rule out a possibility X, Y, Z, whatever the possibility is. Fourth dimension to that trinity, what do know without a doubt, an inch of a doubt, is that before COVID, 93 days or so before COVID, yours truly, Adrian H. Dragan, independent geopolitical analyst and theorist and philosopher and independent athlete and independent fitness captain on a fitness journey, analyze the situation globally, worldwide, and back then was saying, back in 2019, humanity, my brothers and sisters, humanity, analyzing the trends, taking into consideration the US-China trade war and thus the deterioration of Sino-USA, Sino-Canadian, Sino-North American, Sino-Western relations, the arrest of Meng Wanzhou and then reciprocity, arrest of Michael Spavor, Michael Kovic, the continuing terrorism of the Islamic State group and other events, geopolitical events, instability, XYZ, Russia-Ukraine crisis, even back then was a crisis, even now it's gotten further. But I'm calling for a global ceasefire, a global peace. But nonetheless, it has manifested even more. So back in October 2019, I sounded the alarm, I sounded the alarm, I sounded the alarm. Brothers and sisters, these trends, global, international, worldwide trends, are again setting us, humanity, on a path towards an international conflagration, aka global conflict, or World War III, my scenario was. And so created, made, and designed the General War Integrated Total Body Training System, of which have myself performed more than 260 sessions so far of that workout, and have created it, made it, and designed to go hand in hand with such a scenario, where the mobilization of the citizenry and the citizenry to get active fit was made for that, right? Because it's simple, effective, and efficient, my workout, and it increases general overall fitness. I'm proud to have created it of this creation. It's a jewel. For me, it is gold, and I've put it online. I've put it without apps, without fancy technology. I've done it myself hundreds of times, and it's all documented during COVID. And I joke, I say truingly that I've put in more work than the leaders of the free world during COVID combined. And it's true in many ways. I put in more work, physical, working out, training, exercise, and intellectual, spiritual work than all the leaders of the free world combined during COVID. During COVID, Adrian Hanna Dragan put in more work, physical work with working out, training, exercising, sharing it online to encourage people to work out, to train, to exercise, than all the leaders of the free world combined, and even the intellectual. And I'm not criticizing myself. I get moody, get upset. I'm broke, but my work is gold. I'm broke, but my work is gold. I'm broke, but my work is gold. But nonetheless, my trinity on COVID remains. First and foremost, do not know for sure what caused COVID. I do know we got an increase in hygiene in public. Please increase in hygiene in public. Wash hands, disinfect, disinfect, disinfect. You step outside. When I step outside of my underground room, office, and temple, no longer private citizen, Dragan. An added dimension is added, that of being a public citizen. Right? It's an added dimension to being private citizen, Dragan. An added dimension of being public citizen, Dragan. That added dimension, with added responsibilities, duties, and obligations towards other people in the public sphere. The balance between the public and the private. I'm in my underground room, office, and temple. If I will, I could turn everything off, say bye-bye, start dancing, start, get naked, get back in bed, take a bath, whatever. Get naked, start dancing on Madonna, Tekashi 69 or Kanye West music. Right? I'm doing this philosophical work. I chose, I willed, I had the right to express myself in the public domain. Put part of my private self in the public. But in my underground room, office, and temple, small, not that big, underground room, office, and temple, and I could turn everything off and change tunes, right? Sure, after I turn everything off, I might get a bit moody and start cleaning, because I know what to do when I get moody, when I get upset. Sometimes it's from the subconscious, irrational dimensions of self's cravings or resentments or whatever that we had. But action is required, action is required, action is required. For my own healing, transformation, action was required. Working out, training, exercising, doing push-ups, 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 reading books, 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 writing, writing, writing. Right? In the parallel life, science and technology, is my chosen path in that parallel life where supercomputers, satellites, ICBM rockets, microchips is my chosen path. That's all I know in that parallel life. In this life, as an independent fitness captain, I know I created one of the best workout training, simple, effective, and efficient workout training programs ever. I know that I have faults. I admit I have lusts. I have issues. I have vices. I don't play the self-righteous. This philosopher doesn't play the self-righteous card. Doesn't play the self-righteous card. I have theories, philosophy, poetry, dance. I'm the greatest dancer. I've created this workout paradoxically as a world peace advocate, and admitting that do have aggression within myself. Some things are hard to admit. We put on different things. We say, we don't have homophobia. We don't have. I struggled. It's been a struggle for me to come out my own self, wrestling until I came out of the closet 7 years. How many are still in the closet? Yeah, no problem. I'll check in a minute. True, gotta check my clothes so that I don't waste energy. Clothes are rolling. They're drying now. Put them in the dryer, that's what I got. But nonetheless, not without fault. Not without moodiness, not without even anger. I do push-ups, I clean, I take a bath. Right? It's doing. I recognize part of my own nature, and many people are like this. And take the LGBTQ because I was on it, the topic. How many decades it took to have one LGBTQ player in the four patriarchal sports leagues? And I'm saying patriarchal because economically, financially, commercially, there's not even one close. Let's be honest. Sports leagues, which makes even close, economically, financially, commercially, to what the NBA, National Basketball Association, NHL, National Hockey League, NFL, National Football League, and NBA, while admitting myself that at basketball maybe I'll trip on the ball, maybe be a danger to myself and to others. I better stay applaud from and admire the beauty of the game from the sidelines. Football, I can. You bet Dragan can tackle. Defense, offense, you bet Dragon can tackle. You bet defense, offense, that Dragon can tackle. Sack, you get sacked. Sacked. Football, I can play. Hockey, can't skate but cannot break. So that's a problem. I have to go to board, so I'm mediocre. So I'm okay at hockey. I'm mediocre, average, even below average at basketball. So it doesn't come, my criticism and saying patriarchal doesn't come from being resentful. Although there could be subconscious forces say, hey, these multi-millionaires playing the game, they during COVID they didn't give the food security as much as I would have wanted. Right? And with all the vices and the imperfections of temperament, flaws, characters that do have, no way, my brothers and sisters, and I know myself, ain't no fucking way that I would have been that selfish to have millions of dollars in the bank account and to not give for food security. Ain't no way, hoes. Ain't no way, no way, no way. With all the lusts and the vices and the moodiness and the temperament that do have, ain't no way that if I would have been multi-millionaire that during the tough economic, financial, commercial times which we've been through, I would have not financed, helped food security first and foremost, because food, everybody gotta eat. Ain't no way. Ain't no way. With all that, ain't no way. That's just, ain't no way. Ain't no way. But nonetheless, in the patriarchal sports leagues, only last year one came out as being LGBTQ. Colnacy. On each team, there's one who's LGBTQ, not in the open because of economic, financial, commercial reasons. I understand, and I've lost economic, financial, commercial. I lost that money, lost that money, lost that money. Right? People gossip. We're good at gossiping. He said, my global dragon union is better to address directly. Yeah, to address directly. I don't like this. Can you do this better? Can, maybe can. Everybody deserves second chances, third chances. Everybody deserves second, third chances. Everybody deserves second and third chances. I fight my own battles. Yeah. I put on gloves with androgynous pansexual founder, the dancing goddess, and the dragon king. We rock and roll, baby. If I come out of isolation, tango, tango, tango. I fight my own battles. It's things we don't admit. We don't admit. We don't admit. Right? We're dealing with homophobic and issues, racism, right? Don't admit you struggle with XYZ. Admit it, and we deal with it. We move forward. Yo. Adrian? Yes. Don't forget to check on your clothes from time to time so that it doesn't spend more time than they have to because it's very hot in the room. Yeah, I'm gonna check now. I'm gonna check now. Be back. My sister's right. It's gonna get too hot in the room. Better check if they're not dry so that don't waste also electricity. So I'm working from home. Be back. Oh, please. Please. So yeah, my sister's right. See, I could have analyzed this incident situation. I could have said, I'm doing the video. She's bothering me for that, but she's right. In this circumstance, she's right. My ego, maybe when I wanted to argue, to argue, oh, I'm doing this video, I'm being intense, and I have intensity, and I have intensity, and I can be intense. I could have said, right? Or maybe in another circumstance, being more moodier, I would have taken that way. Or the ego, the ego. And I have ego, and try to be in the middle between selfless and selfish part. But with all that, no way that if I would have been a millionaire, I would have not given to food security. Ain't no way, man. That I would have been that selfish to not give to food security being a millionaire since myself received food security, and food security is super important for me as parallel as the first food security, housing, transport. I'm calling for securitization, security where the Dragan army be created, right? So analyzing how I would have reacted, my sister telling me, well, check from time to time your clothes because it's maybe it doesn't need to go all the way to the 30 minutes that I put, maybe it only less, right? So she was right in this circumstance. So back to the LGBTQ and patriarchal sports, I'll close it on that, is that there's one who's LGBTQ on each team of the four patriarchal sports leagues. There's one on each team of the NBA, National Basketball Association. There's one on each team of the NHL, National Hockey League. There's one on each team of the NFL, National Football League, and there's one on each team of the MLB. Without a doubt, I can say that. Sure, I get it. Money, 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 right? I get it. I know. And that paper is a paper is a paper, right? I know. I know. I know. I've lost economic, financial, commercial continuance. As people gossip, right? When we feel mediocre or average in comparison to somebody else's characters, qualities, and in certain circumstances, I can embody the best service, the best quality of service, the best eloquence in communication and speech and embodied laughter, communicative dialogue on communication. I can. I can. Nonetheless, I don't exclude the fact that in certain circumstances, such as whatever sport, right, perhaps myself consider myself mediocre, perhaps myself consider myself average, perhaps also myself have that feeling of inferiority to in certain skills, competencies. Right? These are hard to admit and to process, hard to admit to our own selves, and sometimes we're moved by them in a subconscious psychological way which we are not even aware of ourselves, or we are aware but it's hard for us to admit and bring into the light and then take action, bring into the light and then take action, bring into the light and then take action. Jealousy, envies, resentments, they exist. Solutions, there are also solutions. Take one of mine. One of my solutions has been to work out, train, exercise, losing more than 77 pounds on a fitness journey. Best investment, no money to invest, invested in the body. I said, well, other things don't have control over. Proposed to X, get one view, one like, nobody watches, that's okay. What can I do? And who's gonna stop me from doing push-ups? Who's gonna stop me from working out? Who's gonna stop me from training? From investing in this body? With the philosophy that this body is a temple for pleasure and purpose. That this body is a temple for pleasure and purpose. That this body is a temple for pleasure and purpose. And that is my philosophy. Coupled with a philosophy that love is action. Because if it's just blah blah blah, I love you, it gets a few years, there's no action. It, it becomes into a parasitical type of relationship. And I don't want to have that relationship with nobody. I want new relationships, new business, philosophical, artistic relationships and network, people to join with all they have to bring at the table. For the dancing goddess and the dragon kingdom, all they have to bring at the table for the dancing goddess and the dragon kingdom. They have to bring at the temple the dancing goddess and the dragon kingdom. What can I bring? I can bring philosophy, poetry, art, activism, athleticism, best dance combined with poetry. I can bring some brain and some muscle. I can cook, I can clean, I can cook, I can rap, I can dance, I can't do this, I can't do that, I can't do that. I can wash, I can massage. Learn massage therapy during COVID. That's what I would need. Getting too expensive. I get a massage. Getting too expensive. Dragan Army service and security. All services with consent and hygiene, mutual understanding and love. With consent and hygiene, mutual understanding and love. With consent and hygiene, mutual understanding and love. All services offered. All ALL. With the principle that harm none. With the harm none principle. With the harm none principle. 21st century service and security army. 21st century service and security army. Service and security army. As much as spiritual attainment and meditations that I can do. Beautiful blue sky, beautiful blue sky, beautiful blue sky, beautiful the golden sun rays. I'm also cravings of the wine, of food, of a good touch. Embrace love to touch and to be touched, to bring pleasure in that way. So my spiritual teachings are not devoid of physicality or of the embracement of the physicality. Consent and hygiene, harm none principles, those values that I have. Consent, hygiene, harm none. Harm none, consent, hygiene. Hygiene, consent, harm none. I can spin it in 1,000 words of sophistication about roundabout, but straightforward and direct, that's it. Dragon service and security force. Mutual understanding and love and hygiene. And love is action. So yes, I have lost economic, financial, commercial continuance of the employment and continuance of business or business offers due to it. So we're gonna go back to the North American Civilizational Collective because we have digressed, and we're gonna wrap up on the COVID. First and foremost, this is my trinity, has been, is, and will be my trinity on COVID. First and foremost, do not know what caused COVID. Don't know for sure. Second, I do believe that COVID-19, the virus, was transmitted from snakes to human beings. That's what I believe. Transmission from snakes to human beings. That's what I believe. Third, since don't know for sure, and my belief that snakes transmitted the virus to human beings is now 100% confirmed or proven. There is a doubt even within the scientific community. Four, I cannot rule out another possibility. X, Y, Z. ZYX. Meaning all sorts of possibilities, whether a man-made virus, an accident in a lab, even a bioweapon, or from outer space, from aliens. Or that's my trinity of beliefs plus the fourth dimension on COVID. First and foremost, I don't know what caused COVID. Second, I believe it was transmitted from snakes to human beings. And third, I cannot rule out another possibility. Fourth dimension to that trinity of not knowing for sure, believing it was snakes. Cannot rule out another possibility is what do know 100% without a doubt. That's the fourth dimension. The fourth dimension to that trinity is that before COVID, 93 days before COVID, yours truly is a world peace advocate in parallel with being an independent fitness captain and a great, super excellent geopolitical analyst and theorist, able to analyze, digress, and dissect geopolitical trends and events and the fluctuation over time and historical periods and elections and trade agreements and conflicts of the past and conflagrate and speculate and analyze geopolitical events as I did back in 2019 in October, and have come to the conclusion that humanity is again on the path towards another international conflagration, and so created, made, and designed the General War Integrated Total Body Training System, aka the Dragan Army workout, to go hand in hand with such a scenario, World War III scenario. Which in an eerie, paradoxical, and providential way resembles the COVID-19 health and financial crisis in many ways. Not exactly, but in many ways it resembles it, my World War III scenario, the health and financial crisis of COVID. And I began it in October, so about 93 days before COVID was declared a pandemic and a health emergency, global health emergency, or health emergency of global concern, however you want to phrase it. And October 17 was the first time, although it was in inception, it was a bit before, but October 17 was the first time that I've performed the General War Integrated Total Body Training System, aka the Dragan Army workout. October 17 was the first time. My first performance of the session of the General War Integrated Total Body Training System, aka the Dragan Army workout. The first time that I've performed it was back in October 2019. General War Integrated Total Body Training System. First session, and now done 260 sessions. More than 260. Outside and inside in my underground room office. I encourage all, and I have been and will call for the mass financing, especially I'm going to say my brothers, the patriarchal sports leagues, and the CEOs of the patriarchal sports leagues, which rush back to pre-COVID business, many corporations and politicians and leaders of the world. They rush back to pre-COVID. I'm calling for the implementation of my trinity of theories for a post-COVID world, economic, financial, commercial system of pleasure and purpose. Pleasure increasing in tourism, citizen integration theory to see how farming is done, how recycling is done by citizens who are, since 1984 has been specialization, 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 and we've grown alienated here in this big metropolis island. It's been my home for many, many, many years. Hawk Island, Montreal, throughout North America, the collective of North American civilization and beyond. For pleasure and purpose, finance, secure food, housing, and transport by the Dragan Army, and then offer services. Secure food, housing, and transport by the Dragan Army, then offer four-dimensional services. Secure food, housing, and transport by the Dragan Army, then offer services. Fourth dimension. Right? 12:40 p.m. EST, July 18th. Cases are increasing. Just heard in the news last night is cases are again increasing of COVID. Not difficult to wear a mask. We all wear masks anyways, don't we? Certain circumstances, how we feel certain things, emotions, right? They matter just as like 2 plus 2 equals 4. The scientific, technological can go hand in hand with the spiritual and the psychological and the sexual. Sexual liberation. Sexual liberation, sexual liberation. I'm not come without blood, sweat, and tears for me personally. Has not come for Canadians and North Americans, my brothers and sisters in the USA, and yours truly was born in the USA twice in past lives. 156 years ago, 718 miles south from here, that way south, 718 miles from here, and 156 years ago served in the US Army. July 18th, 9th day of isolation for me of COVID. Cases increases again. Seems to be a milder mutation, variant of the Omicron type of brand. Please increase in hygiene. Wash, rub, RUB. Rub your hands with sanitizer, desinfect, sanitize. Or wash with soap, sanitize. I open carry my disinfectant. When you go in a bank, office, ATM, you use it. Imagine let's do this meditation. Last time I did meditations when you go to the bank, right? Let's say I'm in isolation, so I won't go, but let's say I go to the bank. Somebody goes to the bank. Somebody, you 3 in the afternoon, you touched it. Has it been washed since it's, when's the last time it's been washed? And since it has been sanitized, the board, the keyboard of the ATM machine, right, the numbers there that you press the code because you have to punch in your nip. How many people touched it in that day or before last time it was clean? Maybe 10, maybe 50, maybe 100, maybe hundreds, maybe even thousands. Imagine. Think about that. You touch it. There's microbes, germs, bacteria. There's bacteria, microbes, germs. There's bacteria, microbes, germs. Right? I can be more careful too because I'm in my private room, office, and temple. I'm in my private room, office, and temple. I'm in my private room, office, and temple. Turn everything off, get naked, start dancing on Madonna, Tekashi 6ix9ine, or Kanye West if I want. I could do that. I could even rap naked. $1 million first 1 hour, $1 million session. That's my price to dance and rap naked. $1 million PayPal transfer. That's it for the dancing goddess in the Dragon Kingdom. To give to my sister. We're gonna help. First and foremost, we'll pay my debt. My $10,000 RBC debt. My $2,200 to the $2,200 to the government that's asking $10,000 to the RBC. 10,000 to the RBC that I'm in debt to the RBC. 10,000. The government of Quebec is asking me for 2,200, which I'm offering to make a trade, stay a weekend, Saturday and Sunday to the Assemblée Nationale at Quebec City to recite some poetry in French. I'm a Quebecer, North American Quebecer. I love French. Right here in this underground room of St. That's what I would do first. Pay my debt, $10,000 plus the government $2,200. Pay the debt. pay the debt, support my sister. People who work for the dancing goddess and the dragon kingdom, which I'm looking for volunteers. And 1 million naked dance. Rap. I think I'm gonna have to open those OnlyFans. The collective of North American civilization is a theory which I've written and which I will be back. I'm just gonna go check on the clothes and gonna be back because I'm working now, doing laundry, cleaning, and so I'm working this intellectual, philosophic, artistic, a little bit of comedy and humor in it. Could use a little bit of LOV. Be back in a minute. And gonna add some more coffee. So we are back in business. I have to make sure that I'm not using too much of the electricity waste to dry the laundry. Checked some of it is still wet, so I'll give it another 10 minutes. The collective of North American civilization. The collective North American civilization is my philosophy, theory, proposition, even belief. And North America constitutes a collective civilization, a collective not to be confused with the word collectivism, but to be used as a fusion and amalgamation of constituting different civilizations, if you will, with a common denominator and a nascent, emergent, because it's emerging even now with this North American Adrian Hanna Dragan androgynous pansexual founder of the dancing goddess and the dragon kingdom. It's emerging even now as I'm doing this live video, doing this kind of posted on YouTube, recording this camera. So even now it's forming and emerging and taking place. But the origins of the North American collective civilization, the collective North American civilization, date at the Second World War. And this is an important part. The collective North American civilization, the collective North American civilization has begun forming, spawning, arising with the event known as World War II as a response, reactionary response, as a reaction and as a response, as a counterbalance, if you will, to Western civilization being at war, meaning nations, states, empires within that constitute Western civilization being at war with each other, namely, of course, Nazi Germany, the Nazis, the German fascists, with the German fascism being peculiar to Germany, to Hitler's ideology as embodied in Mein Kampf. Mein Kampf, a book. Mein Kampf is a book which kind of discusses, reveals the Nazi ideology, German fascism, Hitler's German fascism. That's peculiar. Because fascism, of course, can be a category within itself, just like communism can, but it arose in different manners or different variations, if you will. Variations of it, just like So the collective North American civilization is a reaction response, and that's the beginning of when it's began forming, due to the Second World War in the European fighting each other, the German Nazi, some say empire, of course, attacked and conquered Poland, France, annexed Austria under such, made alliances, the Axis and the alliances. But nonetheless, the collective North American civilization is beginning, its inception, its origins, is a reaction response. And this is another important point, that the collective North American civilization is not totally separate or divorced from Western civilization. It's not completely cut off, divorced or divorced, separate. Although it is distinct. So the North American civilizational collective, the collective of North American civilization, these are the main points, that it's born, spawned, originated from World War II, the Second World War, as a response reactionary to nations of the Westerns constituting and from making being part of Western civilization, namely Nazi Germany, Fascist Italy. I also integrate, of course, communism as it was the socialist movement, part of Russia, I mean, part of Western civilization. Back then it was Soviet Union, right? Historically, the 20th century. So it constitutes and it's born, spawned out of that response, a sort of a reactionary response. And it's not totally divorced, cut off, or completely separate from Western civilization, but it is distinct. It is distinct and different and distinct. It's different and distinct. One of the major points is that there was no war within the collective North American civilization. There was no war in Canada, US, Mexico, after in the 20th century as we know it, or in the after the Second World War. And this reaction, and of course, the United States was drawn into the war because the United States, because of the Great Depression, had practiced an isolationist policy. Isolationist policies meaning you adopt policies, the government, president, the leadership adopts policies which are more internal and domestic centered and less to do with external affairs or international trade or international diplomacy, foreign affairs, foreign diplomacy. Isolationist policies refer in international politics, in politics, to policies which concentrate, fluctuate on the North American US, on the US domestic arena. United States practiced in the 30s up until the surprise attack by the Japanese Imperial Army on Pearl Harbor, December 7th, 1941. I'm pretty sure that's the date. December 7th, 1941. Pretty sure that's the date. December 7th, 1941. Pretty sure that is the date. So that response, North American civilizational collective, comes due to the Second World War, and that's when it begins forming. Politically, economically, and even culturally, there's a growing awareness about North America. And more during the decades, people use the word North American. I'm a North American, I say it, and people say it. Je suis un Nord-Américain, I'm a North American. Right? And my paradox is that I include, of course, Cuba in the collective of North American civilization, the North American civilizational collective, the collective North American civilization. But the paradox is that I include Cuba, and Cuba is a unique paradox, and I include Cuba due to tourism. That Cuba maintains until today. It's a paradox to me, at least. It's Marxist-Leninist socialist communist system. One party communist Marxist-Leninist state. Paradox. And of course, Canada did not necessarily practice isolationist policies just like the US did, because Canada, of course, is and was, back then it mattered more because the British Empire was still pretty much around, right? As part of the Commonwealth, what's known as the Commonwealth major countries, states that existed under the British monarchy. And officially the head of state of Canada, my country, it's a North Canadian, North American, is the Queen of England. She's on the money. She's officially the head of state, officially, de facto, more symbolic. But officially, the Queen Elizabeth is the head of state of Canada, officially. And this collective of North American civilization was the response, the emergence. And then this emergence took from the Second World War till today, and now it's still forming as I'm speaking, with new deals, new trades. But it took, of course, shape in the cultural sphere, even Hollywood with Western movies, including Canada in the movies, including Mexico, right? Mexico, Canada, and the islands. And I do include not just Cuba, but also Haiti, the Dominican Republic, and the islands of the Caribbean, in the Jamaica, in the collective of North American civilization, the North American collective civilization. Due to tourism being open, Canada was done tourism with Cuba for many, many years, right? Since there's decades now, Canadians have been going to Cuba. The rapprochement took slowly in the past decades, more and more. And the trade, of course, we do also trade, not just tourism. Canada does trade. It imports Cuban cigars, Cuban coffee. Cuban coffee I've had a few times. I've purchased it on the market, and it's a very good coffee, I gotta say. I don't know which country this coffee comes from. I could speculate. I know it's dark roast, but I don't know for sure. So the collective of North American civilization is an emergent one, with the consciousness, cultural, psychological even, and political, of course, due to the treaties. Take NAFTA. NAFTA was a major treaty, which even solidifies from an economic, financial, commercial perspective the collective of North American civilization. NAFTA from, I believe, 1988, discussed earlier, predates, but pretty sure 1988 was the, might be wrong, fact check me, but I believe 1988 was when NAFTA was first signed, the origins of the North American Free Trade Agreement, and then in the 90s and more. There has been a retrenchment, an impasse with the Trump administration, which I'm not going to dissect and go into. I'm none personal against Trump. I did oppose firmly a lot of his policies, especially the wall. And I thought that was other solutions. Myself, as a North American, I speak French, English, and Spanish. French, English, and Spanish. I speak French, English, and Spanish. Three main languages of the collective of North American civilization, the North American collective civilization. I speak them. I speak them. I believe there is alternatives, such as my policies, my theories implemented, citizen integration theory, debt refusion theory, democratic fusion theory, right? And I believe we can break impasses such as the prohibition on certain drugs. Right? Here in Canada, we've been a few years legalized. I'm not a drug user. I'm not. Very rarely recreational cannabis. Sometimes, once in a while, recreational cannabis. Because my drug is working out. And black coffee, and working out, training. In the sun. That's my highs. A good massage would not turn down. Good loving. So the collective of North American civilization emerges. Important to remember in this theory that it's a response, a reaction to the Second World War, and to the fact that during the Second World War, many nations within Western civilization and empires within Western civilization fought each other. Within, it was kind of a, we can say much of the Second World War, we can say as being a civil war, within Western civilization. Sure, it was not just Europe, it was Asia, China, and not to diminish any of that because I'm a historian, independent student, scholar of history, wars, geopolitics, and civilizations. And the Japanese Imperial Army, the Japanese Empire was big, right? Or China, they fought China. China fought an internal civil war and they fought with Japan and the Philippines, and Japan attacked the USA, right? The Japanese Imperial Army, right? That 20th century history, but Second World War history. And so the Nazi Germany, war machine, conquered Poland, conquered France, annexed Austria. So it was the sort of a civil war as well. A civil war within Western civilization in many ways. That was the Second World War. So in response and reaction to this was the beginning, the origins, the birth of the collective North American civilization.
Did you see the rust in the batteries?
Huh?
Did you see the rust in the batteries?
No.
Oh, you gotta see it before I throw it up. Oh, I want to throw only one after then you can see it.
For sure. And so constituting these elements put together, then gradually culturally there's an awareness, a growing consciousness of the North American and other pillars which are very important to the my theory and proposition and belief is the fact of the integration of the highways, the construction of highways after the Second World War, the integration of the highways. We can drive not only across Canada in the highway from one coast to coast, coast to coast, coast to coast, but also the geographical confines, the geographical realities that is my policies for North America, Central Pan American policies, my Pan American policies, coast to coast, right? We have two coasts, one ocean, one border, one ocean, one border. This is unique to the continent of America, to North America, Central America, South America. The fact that we have two oceans, one that way is east, that way is east, that way is west, that way is west, east, west, west, east, east, west. We have on the east coast, we have the Atlantic Ocean, and on the west coast, we have the Pacific Ocean. Two oceans, two coasts. That's the uniqueness of the Americas and of North America as well, because it's east coast is the Atlantic, west coast is the Pacific. And so this constitution of the collective of North American civilization, the collective North American civilization, the collective North American civilization is also the integration of the infrastructure, the infrastructure. This is a major pillar which propels and solidifies the collective North American civilization. The highways from Montreal, Hawk Island, I can drive all the way to Mexico City and beyond. To the roads allow. Also the railways. There has been an integration of the railways, the trains, the trains can go east, west, north, south, can go east, west, north, south, can go east, west, north, south, and all the way south to Mexico. The trains, where they're not just cargo trains and passenger trains, right? Of course, we might have to switch trains and train stations, right? Sure, but nonetheless, there's the highway with the trucks now traveling. Maybe a truck now just left Mexico with avocados and goods and all sorts of goods and mangoes and other fruits or tequila or other goods from Mexico, and now from Mexico is on his way to Hawk Island, Montreal. From Mexico now a truck maybe is on his way to Hawk Island, Montreal. All the way from Mexico a truck maybe is now on his way crossing the highways. Thank you, love you, kiss you, hug you. It's crossing now to go to all the way, right? It has to pass through Some states of the USA maybe goes, depends how it goes, maybe in a line, or in the south, and then on the east coast, depending on trajectories. And the trains, of course. So several layers of the infrastructure, the highways, the infrastructure, and of course the trains, and of course the planes, of course we have, and of course the ports also help the east and the west, the Pacific and the Atlantic coasts, to solidify that. And then we have the added culture and the economic, financial, commercial agreements, trades, pacts, deals which were made, right? The trade, the import, export, and the migration, right? And being a collective is that North America's uniqueness, and me myself as a Quebecer, Quebecois here in Quebec, is that we have also French, right? We have a French province, which is millions and millions and millions of my fellow Canadian, Français, Quebecois, Quebecers, right? That are part of the collective of North American civilization, and yet, of course, we have Hydro-Quebec, which also supports many states. I think 5 states in the states for sure in terms of the electrical grid, and there's common North American electrical grid unification of the integration of the electrical grid, right? So many thousands of grids, power go east, west, north, south, all the way to, and the power lines built over decades, right? These power lines, clean, renewable, zero emission energy. Take my hat off, workers of Hydro Quebec. Thank you, love you, kiss you, workers of Hydro Quebec, right? So we have the highway integration, the infrastructure, the railways, the infrastructure, the railways integration, the railways infrastructure, the highway infrastructure, the grid, power grid, and to that we have the cultural dimensions. And one very important one is the military one, the NORAD, which I've lectured in the past, my own theories and ideas to constitute the Dragan Army initiative, mutual defense, coast to coast, Canada, US, Mexico, mutual coast to coast defense. And NORAD exists for decades now. NORAD is 50s, late 50s, right? NORAD stands for North American Aerospace Defense, North American Aerospace Defense, North America Aerospace Defense, NORAD. And now with the recent conflicts, there has been a talks of NORAD upgrading, and I believe some of my policies to be implemented coast to coast defense, because we have one border, two oceans. We have one border, two oceans. That's my policy: one border, two oceans. But to be, of course, part of it, and part of it is NORAD, the common aerospace, the defense of the airspace of Canada and the US, and I'm calling for the inclusion of Mexico and beyond, Cuba, Haiti, Dominican Republic, and the islands, Jamaica, to integrate in the collective North American civilization with the implementation of my policies. And for that matter, extending the hand of peace to the east, to the west, to the north, to the south, to my policies, which my theories implemented, I do believe are at this point in time best to be implemented. As it's 109, drinking my coffee here in my underground room off Sun Temple. Broke, but my work is gold. Broke, but my work is gold. Broke, but my work is gold. So this collective North American civilization has emerged since its birth around the Second World War, after the surprise attack by Japan, and consequently participation of Canada, US, and Mexico in the Second World War, and the emergence thereof post-World War in the cultural sphere also, right? You have unique movies and unique music and unique cultural, even dancing and break dancing or other dancing or hip hop, pop, or rap to North America, which have worldwide, global, international phenomenon, and nonetheless, it's the North American cultural sphere, such as sports, being or hockey, American football, right? American football is also Canadian CFL, right? Basketball, right? basketball is sports as well. Arts, North American have a uniqueness, and there's cross fertilization, if you will, cross pollination, if you will, in the North America. So there's a cultural collective. There's all this culture, business, economics, finance, mutual defense, right? NORAD, integration, which is important from the practical and of the infrastructure, the roads, the railways, and even planes, and the geographical realities of the two oceans, which solidify. So it's a geographical aspect, a cultural aspect, a economic, financial, commercial aspect, a military aspect. All these that constitutes a civilization, and being a collective North American civilization, a North American collective civilization, collective North American civilization, born from, but not yet, and not ever, whatever, not divorced completely from Western civilization, not completely cut off from Western civilization. So not yet divorced, or not divorced or separate from Western civilization. Several pillars, cultural pillars, trade pillars, economic, financial pillars. Infrastructure is a major part that plays in the development and the emergence of the collective North American civilization. The fact of mobility and able to go by trucks, by train, by cars, rent a car from Montreal, Hakka, and drive all the way to Mexico. If you will, there's the infrastructure to do that, and this infrastructure didn't happen yesterday in 10 years. It happened over decades. It evolved. Right? Infrastructure investments after the Second World War and policy. So this infrastructure solidifies. Mexico, Canada, US, and by the planes and the boats, the Cuba, Haiti, Dominican Republic, Jamaica, all the islands, all of them I include in the collective of North American civilization. And the fact that there has been no conflict, the void, there has been the Cuban Missile crises, yes, but not outright conflict within the states and the countries constitute the collective North American civilization. While in Europe there has been, right, the breakdown of, even now, the Ukraine-Russia conflict. It is the biggest conflict since the Second World War in Europe. There has been the breakdown of what used to be known as Yugoslavia, internal civil war and ethnic war in Yugoslavia, and intervention, what have you. So in Europe, but they're not in the collective North American civilization. Sure, criminality, and economic problems, and crime, and other issues within the collective North American civilization, sure. In my own neighborhood, I live in a big metropolis, 2.5 million people in Al-Qaeda, Montreal. And there's problems here. I have issues, problems. I take action, take action, take action. So as a geopolitical analyst and theorist, this theory and belief, it's not only a theory, I do believe it firmly. I defend this theory and defend this belief that North America constitutes a collective civilization, meaning that it has common denominators and common ground, common denominators, the infrastructure, highways, the trains, the geographical realities, two oceans. Mexico also has two oceans, right? Canada has two oceans coast to coast. US has two oceans coast to coast, unique to the continent of the Americas, of which North America. Cultural development over the decades, which are North American, unique in Hollywood movies, or in the arts, in, even cuisine, right? To a certain degree, right? And it's amalgamation of sports, of trade, of commerce, of migration, and the fact, of course, that we have not that many languages, and the linguistic aspect is another one. While European Union, right? They have 28 countries in the European Union. How many use the euro? More than 25, right? You have Germany, they speak German. You have France, they speak French. Italy speak Italian. Greek, they speak Greek. Polish, they speak Polish. Spanish, they speak Spanish. Hungarian, they speak Magyar. So many languages. Well, us in North America, as North Americans, I am North American. Well, the LGBTQ citizen, sure, like North American, many past lives, many incarnations. We have three languages, main languages: French, English, and Spanish. French, English, and Spanish. French spoken by myself and millions of Quebecers, part of North America. Millions of Quebecers speak French, myself included. I also speak English. So I'm speaking in English now. And I learned Spanish because I like Spanish, so I manage myself in some Spanish. I can manage myself in some Spanish. I can manage myself in some Spanish. So we have only three languages. Don't tell me we cannot constitute and make policies to have a more integrated collective civilization, because we can. I'm a dreamer perhaps, but we can reborn, and so I'm being reborn during this COVID. Adrian H. Dragan died, but being myself reborn not only as a global citizen, but as a North American, as a North Americano. And Americans know we can. My vision of North America is a powerful one where we heal, where we strengthen, and that they enjoy and prosperity and stuff. I'm also a dreamer, but I believe in my implementation of my trinity of theories: citizen integration theory, natural fusion theory, democratic fusion theory, to have for big prosperity and for the security, prosperity, collective of the North American collective civilization. Because we are distinct yet not separate from Western civilization in many ways. The collective North American civilization, we're not divorced, distinct from the world or from Western civilization, nor we want to be, nor my policy are to be completely cut off or seal ourselves here in North America. That's not what I'm asking for, but we are North Americans and we have a common geographical destiny here in North America, coast to coast, and which I'm calling the implementation of my trinity of theories: Canada, US, Mexico, and the islands. The way tourism and the way the policies implement for a rebirth, for some joy, some purpose, some pleasure. Whoever wants to ally with us in the east, west, north, south, whoever wants to allies with us, northwest, east, south, whoever wants to ally with us, northwest, west, south. 800 Dragons, Dancing Goddess in the Dragon Kingdom is right here from North America, Hawk Island, Montreal. 800 Dragons, Dancing Goddess in Dragon Kingdom is from right here, from North America. 800 Dragons, Dancing Goddess in Dragon Kingdom from right here, North America. And now, it's time for me to do the laundry. Love you, kiss you, love you, kiss you, hug you, love you, kiss you, hug you.